There was a time when the elemental forces ruled the earth as powerful beings. In these times, there were ancient conflicts between the fire and ice beings, whose battles had become more and more destructive over time. All of life had to hide in the rocks and caves for fear of being destroyed in the battles of ice and fire. The trees were the first living things who discovered the way of using all the elemental forces to live in harmony. They had learned to grow so slowly and to be so still that they would not be noticed. They had learned to be resilient and grow through the extremes of hot and cold world around them and live long lives. The fire and ice beings feared each other because they did not understand each other's powers or intentions, and the escalating battles between them grew as their powers grew. Because of this, they would never get close to each other, but they would only grow more powerful and try to destroy each other from a distance with their drying heat and wet and cold. One eon, a great battle was said to be forming that was bound to be so epic that it would threaten the existence of life itself. The trees held council and decided that something must be done. They said to themselves, "Let us grow out into the battlefield between the fire and ice." Over time, the forest grew and spread, small at first, but eventually grew in number as the trees occupied the space in the barren wasteland between the world of fire and the world of ice. The fire and ice, so focused on each other, did not even notice the encroaching forest, other than the fact that they could not see each other anymore. Slowly, the fire and ice beings began to enter the forest that had emerged between them and began to search for each other to battle. As they moved through the forest, the trees sacrificed their low branches as they were scorched by the fire. The fire felt stronger and sure of itself as it grew hotter. As the ice beings moved through the forest, they grew colder in the shade of the tree's canopy and bit the leaves and rootlets with frost. The ice felt stronger and sure of itself as it grew colder. Suddenly, at a small meadow in the forest, the two elemental forces of nature, fire and ice, encountered each other directly, face to face, and were so overwhelmed by each other that they could not even fight. The heat of the fire immediately began to melt the ice beings, who turned into water and steam. The steam rose and formed great clouds that caught on the tree branches and began to rain down upon the fire beings, putting them out and turning them into ash. The battle was forgotten, and the struggle for power subsided as each element eventually surrendered their powers to transform into moist, fertile soil. The trees, singed and wilted by the fire and ice, absorbed the water and nutrients from the soil, restoring their health, and called out of hiding all the living things to share in the abundance provided by the transformation and unity of the great elemental forces. The elemental forces, seeing the wisdom of unity, agreed to remain hidden and unite their powers, allowing themselves to be expressed through the seasons, each with their time and power, and to dwell within the countless forms of living things where they remain to this day.